Hey, Dr. Tom here with you today from our beautiful lake house in the wilds of Canada. And I want to talk to you today about the BLIS sheet, the Business Life Plan Intention Sheet, specifically as it relates to the Life Plan planning template. One of our hallmarks of our full circle coaching process is that we are all unique and authentic beings, and we all have within us a desire to express ourselves in that unique and authentic way. And so part of that is to define your definition of success, as you've probably done by now through the I Know I Am Successful When document, which defines your personal definition of success, which is also a secondary piece to the discovery of your true essence through your core values. But with the Life Plan Planning template, what we want you to do now is to be very, very conscious and intentional about what it would cost you to live your life in your ideal. Okay, having defined success for yourself, what we want to do now is monetize that and get to a place where you can understand exactly whether you need to manifest $75,000 a month or $20,000 a month or $150,000 or $2 million. The number isn't the point. The point is that you feel like it's an intrinsic and authentic expression of who you are and how you want to define success for yourself. Commonly, this life plan planning template is set up across 3 stages or 3 different dreams. You can look at this in terms of 1, 2, and 3 years out, which most people do when you're laying out dream 1, dream 2, and dream 3. And or you could lay it out in terms of the short term, dream 1, 1 to 2 years. Midterm, which is 3 to 7 years. And then dream 3 would be the long term, which would be 7 to 15 years. But the mindset to keep, the context upon which to keep when you're doing this exercise is, what is it that I would love my life to be? What is it I would love my expression to be as a result of defining success clearly for yourself in the earlier documents that you've likely worked on by this point, okay? So we look across 6 different categories, okay? Savings, taxes, lifestyle, big rocks, debt reduction, and then of course your business or office costs. And again, for most entrepreneurs, we tend to think about it, let's pay off all of our office costs and then we'll try and live on what's left over. The reason we've set up the sheet the way we have is because we want you to start thinking about yourself first. We want you to think about paying yourself first, which is why savings is at the top. And certainly within the module, there are landmarks or hallmarks or benchmarks upon which, again, these are just averages or benchmarks, but upon percentages that you might shoot for. I remember when I was told by my mentors that, looking at putting 10% of revenue into savings, that just seemed like a pipe dream to me. But I can tell you that over the many years that we've grown from saving 0.5% into savings, my wife and I have grown to 2%, to 5%, to 10%. And now we save more than 20% of our revenue into savings on an annual basis. And this tool allows you to plan for that and to structure for that. What comes out of this is you work through all of the different categories and how much you would ideally love to put into savings and how much you would love your lifestyle to be. There are supporting tabs within the BLIS sheet to help you design a budget relative to everything from heat, hydro, rent, or mortgage to the other aspects of that. Big rocks, of course. There's a whole story behind that, because if you don't put your big rocks in first, there's never room for them. And these are the things that light up your soul and just make you that much happier to be alive and be human, right? They don't have to always cost money. Sometimes they do. In our family, it was everything from having dinner together every night of the week to, expensive trips to the Caribbean. So by taking all of these numbers and calculating the dollar values, you can then break it down into a service equivalent. And you can say, okay, so how many services in my business is that? Is that in the chiropractic world, is that 100 patient visits a week, or is it 800 patient visits a week? I remember a doc one time who did 33 versions of the dream. And he came out and he said, hey doc, guess what? I got good news. I did the exercise and I only need to see like 6,000 patient visits a week in order to make my dreams come out. I said, that's cool. I said, is there any part of you that wants to exchange that much energy with the universe? And he laughed and he said, no, not even close. So there's an energy management component to this, right? Because there's a difference between something that's truly authentic dream and something that's a fantasy. Many people get caught in fantasy, thinking that they need, a white-gloved waiter to serve them caviar at dinner and drive expensive Rolls-Royce automobiles. Now, if that's your truly authentic dream, nothing wrong with that. But for most of us, our lives don't need to be that ostentatious, nor do we even authentically want them to be. I actually prefer to drive myself in my little Porsche Boxster than have somebody drive me around. Or I'd rather, enjoy the service it takes to help serve the plates with my family than have somebody serve it for me. So again, it's your dream. It's what you'd like to do. This is a way to monetize it and then work it down into a debt of service, because that's a way easier thing to think about. X numbers of sales, X numbers of services, X number of patient visits if you're in the healthcare field, versus looking at it from a money standpoint. Then you can get an exact number of where it is that you need to go. And I don't care whether you're at here and you need to go a long ways, you need to go a short ways. The next step in the process will be to lay out that Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb trail from where you are to where you're going to be, which we'll talk about in another video.